Sebastian Martinez, MMAnytt here at Rumble Sports in Copenhagen with UFC welterweight Gunnar Nelson. So Gunnar, you've just hosted a little seminar here. What do you say? What do you think about the talent here at Rumble Sports?
Oh, it's very good. You know, the guys are very good jiu-jitsu guys. There's a guy here I know, Thomas LaCour. We've been training in the past, and he's very good, and he's doing a good job with the guys here. I can tell.
Okay, and you know, when you go out in Europe and other parts of the world, you get to see some of the talent that isn't usually brought up. Usually it's Las Vegas, London, big cities, well known. Do you think that a smaller in comparison city such as Copenhagen and a smaller club such as Rumble Sports can make an impression and a big run in the UFC?
Oh yeah, definitely. It just depends on their dedication and how they train, and if they carry on, if that's what they want to do. You know, the education is there, the skill is there, and it's just what they do with it from here. You know, and that's up to them, the individuals.
So you've been hosting a seminar here, and I've been listening to you speak quite a bit, and I can tell you spend a lot of time with John Kavanagh and Conor McGregor, because I swear I can hear some Irish inflections on your English. Is that something you've noticed yourself?
Yeah, maybe. I can always the guys that are from America, maybe, and I guess maybe the Scandinavians think they hear the little bit of Irish, but when I'm in Ireland, they say sometimes I have a little bit of an American accent. Oh, yeah? I guess you always hear that little bit that's kind of different, you know, than what you're used to. And I learned how to speak in Dublin more or less, so I'm bound to have some accent.
Well, just the way you said Ireland sounded extremely Irish, so I'd say probably a little bit. So now, Gunnar, last time you fought, it was in Stockholm, where the next the fight behind us is coming up. And unfortunately, didn't really go your way. It was a hard-fought decision. Went all 5 rounds against Rick Story. He ended up coming up short on the scorecards. Looking back at it, how do you feel about that fight and about your performance?
It was a tough fight, you know. It was a 5-round fight, a close fight, but I'm happy with the decision. You know, I think it was fair. It's a lot of food for thoughts and to bring in training. There's a lot of experience there, and what you need to do is bring that into training and work on the situations you felt that you needed to, you know. Lately I've been feeling that I need to move a little bit naturally, let my body do what it naturally does, you know. Yeah. What I did from the beginning, and then maybe you lose it for a period of time, but you gotta come back to it, you know. You gotta let your body do its thing and do it its own way, you know. Yeah.
Any lessons in particular, or anything in specific any lessons that you take from that experience?
Yeah, like I said, you know, there's a lot of them, and the most important thing for me was what I was saying is because I felt in the fight that I was a bit stiff, not moving freely in a lot of situations where he wasn't even putting the pressure on. It was more me blocking myself from certain movements, which was there was no need for it.
Yeah. And like you said, it was a close fight, ended up being a split decision. When you stood there at the end, awaiting the judge's decision, what do you think the result would be?
I don't remember actually thinking what at that moment. I knew it was a tough, close fight. I knew it could go either way. That's how I felt. And it went his way, and I'm not going to argue. You know, I think it was fair.
And it looked like there was a little bit of an exchange between John Kavanagh and Rick Story's trainer afterwards. If that's anything that you noticed and can comment on? It seemed like they were disputing the decision.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I'm not sure. It was a close fight. It was a tough fight. And people see it with their own eyes, you know, and maybe it depends on where you stand on the cage even, you know. Yeah. But I watched the fight again on the night after and on the cameras, you know, and it almost was the same as it felt to me, you know. Yeah. It was a very tough fight. he was busier, and I think that won him the fight.
That was your first main event, and obviously the UFC, they believe in you. You can tell the fact they were willing to put you main event in Sweden. How do you feel about having that status and basically keeping it going here in the UFC?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's all I want. All I want to do is stay in this game and fight and train. And right now I'm just going back and training and taking a little vacation with my family, and then I'll be back into it full blast.
Obviously the vacation is well deserved, but I think most of the fans are, I'm sorry to say it, but looking forward to when your vacation ends to see you get back to training.
Of course.
When do you think that we'll be able to see you in the cage again?
I'd say end of February, beginning of March.
Okay. And there's a couple of UFC events coming up in Europe. One in London was unfortunately moved up, it seems. But regardless of where a fight would be, is there any opponent that you'd be interested in facing?
Not really. I'd face any of them, to be honest. As I've always said, all these guys are very tough, and the welterweight is a stacked division, so I'll be happy with anyone they put in front of me.
All right. And now, like you said, you're going to go on vacation with your family, you're going to be in Iceland a little bit. Mm-hmm. I want to know, here we've been talking about, the beginning of the interview, some of the Danish talent. What about the Icelandic talent? Because obviously you're the star. You're the star of Icelandic MMA right now. What future stars do you think will be coming for your home country?
There's a good few guys back home now, most of them are amateurs right now. But I think in the near future there's going to be at least 2 or 3 guys that are going to come up and make a run for it, and make a blast into the pro scene, I'd say in the next few years. It's always up to them what they want to do, and at the moment I can tell there's at least 2, if not 3 guys that are going to make a run for it, And I believe them all the way.
All right, well, just lastly then, you're in the welterweight division, obviously. This weekend coming up, we've got Lawler against Johnny Hendricks, a rematch. What are your thoughts on the rematch, and who do you have picked as a winner?
I think Hendricks is going to get the win. Maybe it's going to be decision again. Similar fight, very tough fight, long fight. Because these guys seem to clash. They're very they're well matched. Yeah. And their styles as well. Robbie is he's a veteran, especially on the feet. He's so good, and he knows where to place himself inside the pocket. And Hendricks can take a punch, and is quite good there as well. But I think Hendricks can mix it up a bit better, so I think maybe that's going to get him the win. But you can never know with these guys, because it could be anyone's fight.
Well, insightful thoughts as always. Gunnar, thank you very much. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.